opportunities as it needed, as such opportunities emerge. So today's topic is of a huge interest and huge importance, both from the point of view of the business opportunities and economic development of both of our countries, our business communities, and from the energy security point of view for sure. So we definitely see a lot of opportunities for the Ukrainian business, because Poland has a very developed natural gas infrastructure, has a demand and has a consumption of something around 20 billion cubic meters per year, if I'm not mistaken, and this demand is not covered both by the internal production and possibilities, and both by LNG import. As far as I know, some attention has been paying towards both development production in Poland and LNG import. But at this point, we see that our enemy used to have the most of opportunities on the Polish market, and we need to do something to cut those opportunities from the one hand, and to develop opportunities for our businesses to cover those needs. Ukraine has much more proved reserves of natural gas, as far as I know, something around 10 times more proved reserves than Poland. And for sure, there is a huge opportunity for development of the good business in Poland. So I won't bother you with taking more time with this front board, but to wish all of us luck, wish all of us good business, and let's make Russia small again.
Thank you, Mr. Bezos. As a result of this meeting, the Energy Club will prepare a special address to governmental structures, and of course, the draft will be available for participants to make suggestions, to sign, and to promote in our further activities. Now I have a special pleasure of offering the floor to Mr. Konrad Szwirski. He is the president of Transition Technologies S.A, who are the hosts of this. Okay. I just wanted his words to go on record as well. All right, so we are done with welcoming words, and now I offer the floor and invite to speak Mr. Ireneusz Bil. He is from the Energygate Europe, SPZOO.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Andrei. Thank you very much, Valery, for first the initiative of organizing our get-together today. It's, as always, a pleasure of having the opportunity to participate in an event organized by the Energy Club. The last time we met in an exquisite meeting in Budapest, also devoted to the development of gas in Central and Eastern Europe. So I'm very glad that we can be here today. I'd like also to maybe in the beginning just say a few words, opening remarks. First, I think I will be speaking today not only as a CAO of a Polish company, gas trading and electricity trading company, but I will be also speaking in a professional capacity because I was also dealing with energy supply security for many years at the Warsaw School of Economics, Szkoła Główna Handlowa, where also my PhD was devoted to the issues of energy supply security. So maybe it's not very very low level, but I'd like to have a few remarks from my, let's say, scientific and practical experience. Second, I'd like also to welcome here two special guests, because we have also the representative of the Ukrainian embassy in Warsaw. Excuse me. Hello. Busy, so we are happy that you were able to join us. And I also would like to welcome Mr. Wrembak from the Polish-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce. We are a part of this chamber, and we also very much value your support and your initiative in assisting us in organizing this event. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very important to state that since the 24th of January 2022, we have a new geopolitical economic reality in Europe. And I don't have also to convince you about all these changes that have happened, but I'd like to devote your attention to the fact that the changes in Ukraine and that the changes especially in the energy market in Ukraine have begun much earlier. Ukraine is a member of the energy community since 2010. Since 2016, Ukraine is also a member of has signed the European Association Agreement and is associated since 2017 with the European Union. Also, 2017 is the date of the signing of the Deep and Comprehensive Free and Trade Agreement with the European Union. And as you know also, since 2017, Ukraine is not any longer importing Russian gas. So Ukraine was even much earlier ahead of countries like Poland, not speaking about Germany, Slovakia, or Hungary, in ceasing all direct imports of Russian gas to Ukraine. But also what is, I think, which are important developments of last years, it's of course not only withstanding the Russian invasion, but it is also opening a quick path, I do hope, a quick path for the full membership in the European Union, because in 2022, Ukraine became the status of a candidate country in the EU. At the end of last year, it was agreed that the negotiations will be opened in the first half of 2025. And Poland, as you know, will be opening on the 1st of January, taking over the EU presidency in the Council of the European Union. And we had a couple of days ago the visit of your Deputy Prime Minister, Mrs. Stefanishina, who said that the agenda is very ambitious of Ukraine. First opening all the chapters in the Polish presidency, hopefully ending up them during the Danish presidency, and then 2026 would be devoted for voting in European member countries about the full participation about the ratification of the accession treaty. Of course, it's a very ambitious agenda. We don't know whether it will happen. I think Austria was the last country which was able to do it so quickly, but of course we keep the thumbs up. But the point of speaking about all of this is also to appreciate the really truly remarkable change that Ukraine has undergone in terms of adopting the European law, European acquis communautaire in the area of energy. According to all the chapters, and this is an assessment of the European Commission, I think the energy chapter is one of the most advanced. 70 to 80% of all the acquis communautaire in the area of energy is already adopted. Of course, still the implementation lags behind, especially in the development of the institutions, market institutions, but nevertheless, the progress is remarkable. So I think it's very important to stress and appreciate the change in the beginning. But also when we speak about Poland, the last years have also brought a significant change in the Polish energy market. To shed a little bit of light. First, the Polish LNG terminal was opened in 2015. And this year and the next, we will more than double the capacities of this terminal in Świnoujście. Second, also the Baltic pipeline has been opened in 2022, contributing to not only diversifying the imports to Poland, but also, of course, getting rid of the Russian gas. And this is the third change that has happened. And it is, of course, the stop of importing of Russian gas. It was at the end of 2022. It was the decision not of Poland at the time, but we were probably by anyway wanting to do it at the end of 2022. But the result is obvious. Poland is not importing directly anymore any Russian gas from Russia through Belarus or Ukraine. So, ladies and gentlemen, on that background, I would say that the Polish legislation, and this is my assessment as a modest expert, as to the Polish legislation and the Polish regulation is to a large extent lagging behind those developments, are not reflecting the changes that I spoke about. The Polish legislation I mean here, which are regulating the exchange with foreign markets, there are principally three of them. The energy law, the storage law from 2007, and the regulation on diversification from 2007. The storage law is, as my Polish colleagues know very well, maybe our Ukrainian colleagues not so much, has been for many years under scrutiny of the European Commission and by other organizations like the EFET. And this new government, which has been constituted last year, has undertaken the effort of a new legislative initiative to modernize the law. So the law is now in the process of consultations, and hopefully new solutions will be proposed quite soon to the Polish Parliament. And I know that some of my colleagues from Ukraine and also from the international companies would like also to add to the protocol a couple of their comments on this law, which is now under procedures. When it comes to other issues, so the issue of diversification, well, the regulation is from the year 2017. So as I can see, it reflects a quite different reality. 2017, still we did not have an active war in the East, or not in that full extent. Second, we are still importing vast amounts of Russian gas to Poland and to other European countries. And third, also Ukraine was, I think, in a very different position than it is now, where it is on a fast track to hopefully becoming a member of the European Union. So I would like to stress that this is, of course, not a new. I remember a discussion that we had under the auspices of the Chamber of Commerce with, I think this was then the head of PGNiG, Mr. Jerzy Kwieciński. I was together with him in a panel, and already, I think it was early 2020, we were discussing all the hurdles for the development of the Polish market, which were stemming from the law on the storages and the regulation on diversification. Since then, nothing has changed. So hopefully the next year will bring here some changes. So the last point before giving the floor to the other people is why do we think, and why do I think, that both the storage law and especially the law of regulation are to a large extent discriminatory to first to Ukraine, and second also, that's also my assessment, to the development of the Polish market. First, yes, in my opinion, they are seriously constraining the development of the Polish market. It is an assessment which I do by a comparison of the flexibility and also of the opportunities that countries which are registered in other and are functioning in other EU member states and their obligations which they have compared to companies like our company, which is registered in Poland. Second, I do also see that Poland has I think, not only the capabilities and the ambition to be not only a transit country, which is avoided on the way between East and West, but also we have the ambition that Poland becomes a hub for trading LNG, but also for trading gas, which will be coming from different directions. And if we are seriously speaking about Poland developing as a hub, I think the Polish regulations and laws are really constraining this opportunity. Third, I think Poland is missing a large opportunity which lies just behind the borders of Poland. And I'm speaking here about the vast underground storages of Ukraine, which are just to the west of the Polish border and which capacity is over 30 billion cubic meters, and it's maximum. So we know how much this underground storages played an important role during the COVID times, but also later in balancing the trade between East and West, but also as a storage for European traders. So at the last point, I'd like to say a couple of ideas that I have, and I would like to propose that in the end, we put, as you were, Andrei, mentioning, and also Valery would like to put our proposals on paper, also encourage other companies and institutions and the Chamber of Commerce to directing an appeal to the Polish government, really to have a strategic rethinking of all these energy changes that have been happening in the last couple of years, and accordingly trying to amend the Polish regulation. From a perspective of a humble small company of the Polish market, the regulation storage laws is a different issue. Yes, it's now under change, so we do not know what will be the final result of these changes. We are hoping to be also a part of the process of consultations, but I'd like to say about the regulation of diversification. From our point of view, first, this regulation is discriminating Ukraine, because Ukraine is being, together with Russia and Belarus, is treated as one source of trade. So I think the changes in the last years indicate at least there should be a change that Ukraine should be treated quite differently than Russia and Belarus in such a regulation. The second, the shift of seasons. The regulation is based on a calendar year, whereas the storage law is based on the gas year. And we see that the majority of imports and exports to the underground storages is happening either in the fourth quarter and the first quarter of the next year. It also creates huge logistical, financial hurdles for gas trading companies, especially those who are trading between Poland and Ukraine. And third, also, I think such a regulation should take into account an exception, which is the use of the underground storages in Ukraine. Because in my opinion, and not only my opinion, but it's also the European Parliament and the Council who has emphasized the importance of the underground storages in Ukraine, they are playing an increasingly important role in the security of gas supply to Europe, and also in the gas security of Poland. So amending that, I think, should be one of the high priorities of changing the regulation on diversification. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, I do understand the purpose of this meeting is to have an open and frank exchange of opinions. You should not be afraid that this meeting is recorded, because I think everyone can speak freely so much as he's allowed by his own institution, constituency, and his own feeling. As I said, I'm speaking not only as a representative of a Polish company, but also as someone who is observing with very much great interest and I think scientific scrutiny, supply security of Poland for many years, but also someone who I think values very much the perspective of Ukraine becoming a member of the European Union. So maybe, Andrei, this is more than enough as an opening, and thank you very much again for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bill, for not only outlining the background against which we work, but also for explaining quite clearly the reasons why we should change the situation, and also for putting forward some suggestions. The next person to speak is supposed to be Mr. Kulinich, but I don't see him among the participants. So with pleasure, I invite Andrei Mizovets, who is the president of the Association of Gas Traders of Ukraine.
Thank you, Andrei. I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation and the opportunity to share my thoughts. And I want to talk about some of the legal and practical issues that make it hard for the Polish and Ukrainian gas markets to work smoothly together. Both countries want to improve their energy security, cut costs, and reduce dependence of large suppliers. And first, there are challenges around the legal status of gas that moves between the two countries. And I want to point that when the gas is stored in Ukraine before it enters Poland, it can lose its official status as a EU product. And this means that when it crosses into Poland, companies might have to trade it as imported gas from non-EU country, even if they store it in Ukrainian underground facilities. As a result, they may need to pay custom duties or extra taxes, which increased prices and slow the trade. So to fix this, I think both countries should agree on rules and that keep that gas in EU status intact, even when it's stored in the Ukraine underground facilities. Second, there are tax and fee issues, especially regarding excise duties. In Poland, as you know, gas is taxed when it enters the local market. But if the gas is just passing through the Poland and it's actually isn't consumed there, this can create unnecessary costs for importers. Excuse me. Next question is the process of certifying and licensing operators and suppliers as a difference between Poland and Ukraine. And right now, as we know, when company wants to operate in both countries, on both markets, it has to go through separate licensing steps. And it's time consuming and expensive sometimes. So it's the next question to solve. What can I say? Another one question. There is no shared system for solving disputes between Polish and Ukrainian energy companies, if it need. Without trusted common method to handle disagreements, the problem can drag on and become expensive. It's important question between our countries. And in short, if we want the Polish and Ukrainian gas markets work together as one, we need to solve these legal and regulatory problems. By agreeing on how to keep gas on EU status, adjusting tax rules, recognizing each other's licenses, and making storages and network access fair, fast, and quick and simple. After these steps, we can build a stable and efficient energy system that helps both countries, I think. So that's my little thoughts, and thank you again for opportunity to share these thoughts.
It happens so that little thoughts lead to great actions, and that's what actually Andrei Mezevets is famous for. And the only word, and your association, of course. The next person whom we will listen to is Pavlo Stanchak. He is Deputy Director General for Development and Transformation at GTS Operator of Ukraine Limited Liability Company. Mr. Stanchak, the floor is yours.
I'm representing today GTSO, the operator of Ukraine responsible for the transmitting gas or the Ukraine, also they are adjusting some TSOs. And what I would like to emphasize is for us it's very important to treat us as a part of the European energy family. As it was already said, we are a part of the treaty signed energy community, and it allows us to be on the line with European rules, and it is really what we are trying to follow it. That's why this is already unbundled TSO, and the underground system storage in Ukraine is awaiting for all the clients all over, also in Europe. And we are preparing ourselves for being a part of the routes, and which finally may allow to put some gas into the storage, increasing the volumes and also fill capacities. We did it recently with Polish TSO, and it was emphasized very much in Brussels as something that can enhance the possibility, enhance all the say network participants, and also it allows to use LNG terminal in Poland, maybe in future FSRU. As a matter of fact, we did many times open season for together with Polish TSO for new investment in FSRU, maybe easier and maybe more capacity available by the sea. And unfortunately, everything was fine until the binding, but in the binding phase it fails. But still, we are ready to do that step. I would like to say that small change in the law, which allow to use for the strategic reserves not only European storages, but also using the energy community storages, may allow us or may allow clients inside Europe to use the storages inside Ukraine, even before Ukraine will be a part of Europe. And also, we are trying to be ready for the hydrogen and biomethane challenges. Biomethane looks very, very, let's say, this is the pragmatic approach, and this is something that we know, and as an operator, we are not afraid of biomethane at all. One of the problems are when you cross the border with some, let's say, specification of the quality of the gas has to be harmonized and used as a common gas among the European countries. So we are still looking for some agreements inside Europe, but nevertheless we are preparing ourselves. We are even trying to do our own tests crossing the border. Hydrogen, this is another story. We did some project already. We started the project with the Slovaks, Czech, and towards Germany, or towards together with Austrians towards Germany. But we are really are looking for some cooperation, good cooperation with Poland as well. So this is at the beginning. We are, of course, facing the new time. This new time will be when the situation with transits. When we say transit, we are talking about the Russian gas transited by via the routes to Ukraine. But as a matter of fact, the transit is for all the gases around, which are not sold inside Ukraine. So first of all, one transit will be finished, maybe another transit will appear. That's why we are looking for the south-north corridor, and we are looking for this opportunity as something which can prolong the transit. It will be on the tram, only the gas will be different, but transit will be similar. So this is at the beginning. I'm ready to answer the questions and ready for discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stanchak. As soon as I was going to ask you to face the direction of the microphone, you did it yourself. And of course, enhancing possibilities is what Mr. Stanchak was talking about. So to enhance our possibilities and opportunities, will the next speakers please face the mics that are situated on the desk and not the screen on which you may see other participants. Meanwhile, I invite to speak Mr. Marcin Sienkiewicz from Towarowa Gilda Energii S.A. Hello. I think I saw him among the participants. No, not at the moment. Okay. Pavlo Young, is he present in the room? I don't see everybody.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
So Pavlo Young, limited liability company, Ukrgaz Resource. The floor is yours.
Not sure. I'm just a lawyer, so maybe you can check if this is maybe the name is correct, but not the company. I am representing the law firm in Warsaw, Janssen Partners. So I don't know. Can I continue? I understand. So thank you for invitation, and thank you for possibility to speak here between you. As I said, I'm just a lawyer, so I'm looking for all of the aspects what you're discussing today from the legal point of view. And this is quite interesting, actually, because if we think about this regulation, we need to still remember about the aim of this regulation, intention, yes? And all we know that the situation is dynamic, but the regulation, as you said, is from the 2017, yes? So this is, the intention was, we can be sure that the intention was different, yes? And if I'm from the legal perspective looking on these regulations, I think that government and the legislation miss the point. This is not that, for example, if you storage the gas in Ukraine, and this is getting back to Polish, this is not the subject of the regulation. This is not the intention. And of course, I can tell you from my experience with dealing with the authorities, with dealing with the regulations. This is good that the government is working on to change this, to adjust this. But as always, government will be late. The situation is really dynamic, and what needs to be done, I think, is to put the pressure on the authorities to correctly understand the regulation, to not miss the point, yes? And I know, and from my, let's say, legal experience, I know this is not easy to go to the authority and say, okay, you are missing the point. The intention is different, and the regulation is different. But this needs to happen to make the pressure on the government, to make the pressure for the legislation, to adjust these rules, which we sit here together, we are discussing, and you all, let's say, I understand, all agree that this is, let's say, something is not correct, yes? Something is, let's say, not according to the aim, something is going contradict to the intention. So to change this, I think you've got the companies with dealing with this a lot of, let's say, power to try to build this pressure against the authority. I don't know if there is today someone from the authority, but I hope not. But this is the one, let's say, aspect which I'm as a lawyer is trying to suggest my client, yes, to make the pressure to explain, because usually this is acting according to the intention, yes, and the business feels the intention, yes, and they know how to, let's say, how to react on this, and I think this is quite important to build this pressure and then to expect to adjust the legislation. Of course, I also understand that in, let's say, practical life is quite difficult and require a lot of courage, yes, to stand on this and to explain. But as a lawyer, I can only say that, for example, this regulation in respect of the treating the gas from the Ukraine, getting back to Poland as a, let's say, something external which required the diversification. I think there's a lot of, let's say, arguments to build a position that this is not the situation in which this regulates is, let's say, applied. So this is my perspective as a legal point of view. I know that you've got more experience from the practical points, but this is, let's say, my assessment of the current situation. And of course, I hope that these changes of the law will happen soon and will address all of your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, legal changes lead to practical results. And your opinion as a lawyer is very, very much appreciated. Now the time has come to again invite Deputy Minister of Energy of Ukraine, Mykola Kolesnik. Mr. Kolesnik. Hello. Hello. Not so far. So when you will be ready to chip in, please write to me. Okay, so do we have Mr. Stanislaw Brzęczkowski from Gas System in the room? Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for invitations as an operator. In Poland, the gas transmission operator has good partners with the Ukrainian transmission system operators. I would like to underline that maybe in this group, there's some historical fact that in 2010, we are the first operator who made the possibility to transport gas from the West Europe towards Ukraine. It was some special events against the long-term traditions that gas flows from east to west, but in this case was. And when the gas transmission operator Ukraine was established, we also established on this point one of the first virtual grid connection point, which is according to the European rules. So I think that we have quite good practice cooperations, not only the personnel, but also the institutions. About personnel, it's maybe second chapter. We are asked to say a few words about our company and these issues, which are the topic of today's meeting. The first, that's we are the operator of transmission system. So that's we are just, or at least for the transmission. So the flows depends on our behavior of our clients, who booked capacities, who make denominations, and so on. So that's our role is to provide this transmission service for all, for different directions. You mentioned during the beginning about the new interconnection points, new interconnectors. You mentioned just about the terminal LNG, also about the Baltic pipe. But I would like also underline that during this time when the Baltic pipe was constructed, Also, in the same time, were constructed two very important connections. The connections with Lithuania. We would like also pay attention for the next LNG terminal, which is operated in Klaipėda, and also the additional connections with Slovakia, who is also in this area and also in the area of now is supplied via this mentioned the transit via Ukraine from east. But so this was the time, and also before the long term before 2010, we also established the physical reverse flow from Germany towards Poland using this Yamal pipeline transit system. And that's I would like to mention that when the war started in 2022, this physical connection was one of the main points for supplying, especially for a few months before commissioning of the Lithuanian connections and then the Baltic ones. So the issues about constructing these interconnectors on time was one of the very important issues. And now we are going for the second stage of this because it's not so, it's easy, relatively it's easy because it's fully dependent on us or our partners, the constructing the interconnectors. But the next issue is about the usage of this. And then maybe I now would like to mention about the new, let's say, commercial project with our Danish partners about the possibility to provide gas from the North Sea towards Poland and also further to the Southeast Europe, also especially towards Ukraine, Moldavia. We will see maybe also the other countries. We call this the Baltic Sea Gas Corridor. And this maybe in some social media you mentioned on Friday there's some kind of the announcement of this project. Maybe it will be not so bad idea if you will have some minutes of this meeting to provide some links because also we and also our Danish partners make special web page for this project. There you can also find these issues as you mentioned about how to become our client, to become the Danish clients and the rules. There are some links, there are some QR codes, the rules, and also some details presentations. And also is kind of the benchmark of the cost of transport for some directions. Probably in the next weeks will also appear some kind of the materials which can provide for who are physically here the current ones, the leaflet about the benefiting of usage of our system as some kind of the regional ones due to some different directions in different interconnectors, but also the new versions will be published probably until end of the year and maybe beginning of next year on our webpage. Mm-hmm. So this is about this diversification and possibilities, yes, but as I mentioned on the beginning, we are the transmission system operator and the flows depends on our clients. So we are prepared the chessboard, we prepare the rules for game in our rules, but the playing is your opportunity. And you mentioned about some rules, especially about the law regarding the mandatory storages. Yes? And there's very famous rules and act, but everyone was against these rules before 22nd year. During the 2022, this law was one of the reasons when we had one of the most fill-in storages in Europe at the beginning of the war. Now we have the new rules about the SOS rules from European, which are now included in this regulations 1789. It's a good number for the number of regulation. And now it's decided the rules for the storage obligations are per dedicated countries. It's not a pan-European storage, but it's country by country. Yes? But of course, this on the second side, it's a little bit hampering the development of the Poland as the trading hub for the region. But as probably you mostly know, that's the consultation is the past. Now this rules passed through the firm prime ministry regulatory, and probably soon will be pushed to the parliament. And there are some signals that maybe will be changed until end of the year. Let's not ask me about my personal opinion, but anyway, if it will be finally in parliament, it probably will be soon as the rules. So it means that the development of the trading in Poland will be easier. But I would like underline one issue. If you would like transit gas through Poland, you are not under these obligations. So that if you, let's say, buy gas on Lithuania or Denmark, just transit through Poland is not under these regulations. This is also mentioned on this our materials which are available on this our webpage, which show the different rules which are for trading in Poland or just for transit. But and also if you are thinking about talking about some just transit without trade, also the issue of licensing is over, because for just transit you don't need any license for transit via Poland. So you can use the system, you can use these connections, but if you just transit, it's two, let's say, challenges are let's say crossed over. Regarding the legal framework of cooperation with gas system, that's also this is you need sign some general framework transport contract, and then you are using them by booking capacities for particular IPs, and then nominate and so on. You are our guests, so welcome. And so that's anyway, but we are under energy law and we are the regulated company. There are also some discussions about the tariffs that are higher or maybe could be from one direction a little bit lower price. I don't like to talk about some cross subsidies and some, because when the one direction is cheaper, means that in the different is should be a little bit more expensive. Yes, but I would like underline that we are not only under the Polish law, but also under the European regulations. Then we have the network code for the tariffs, which firmly say about the rules about the tariffs, that on all entries, all exits, entries separately, exits separately, but anyway, for all of the same kind of the point, the rates, fees should be equal. So it's not possible to prioritize any directions or some special services. We have the entry-exit systems, so the entries and exits are not connected, and it's not allowed to use some special path rates, for example. So regarding to, as I mentioned, how to become our shippers, this is the details are on our webpage. We have, I just like mentioned that except the providing the power of attorneys, all of activities could be done remotely or electronic way. So the capacities, the booking capacities, except the one connections with Germany, all IPs are offered on the GSA platform as a platform for capacity booking. And also that, for example, today in the morning was the monthly capacity booking auctions. I'm very sorry because we just checked before the leaving office. I'm afraid that no one from you appears. Also, no one appears on the Ukrainian border, despite that today was the first time when there was the opportunity to book the firm capacity towards Ukraine. As also mentioned by Mr. Steinchak, it works long, but finally fruitfully, and thus we are upgraded this capacity towards Ukraine for the firm capacity. Many months, not only from Ukrainian colleagues, we heard questions. We like the firm capacities, then we will book. We offered, we honest, still is not. So I hope this reappears. Regarding the seasonalities, as you mentioned about with the storages, 3 years ago was some activities which showed, despite it was interruptible, flows which looks on the profile as kind of the usage of storages. In this year, not appears such behavior of our clients. So that's what can I say? That's I cordially would like to invite you for usage our services. That's our IPs, interconnectors, opportunities with North Sea direct connections, or so the other terminals. And maybe we will soon also have the good message that storage obligation is changed and will have no influence for the, let's say, the regional wholesale trade.
Thank you very much. A rather detailed picture and also promising prospects. And it would be logical to hear from other gas transmission operators. So I invite to speak Agneta Kucelim. She's director of the commercial department of joint stock company Ukrtransgaz.
Thank you, Andrei. Hello, dear participants. Just one remark before start that Ukrtransgaz at the moment is not transmission system operator, is the storage system operator after unbundling. So yes, at the moment, we are the only storage operator in Ukraine offering waste of storage capacities to Ukrainian companies and to European companies, non-residents, to store gas in Ukraine. Probably the participants of this discussion know that we have surplus of capacities, and almost 82% of them located near the western border, which facilitates the cross-border trading and access to the storage capacities of Ukraine. So just short information about the CVR that was mentioned, that for temporarily storing in Ukraine, companies from EU, they do not need to be registered in Ukraine. They can use CVR, Customs Warehouse regime, to store gas to import and then re-export it back. I heard there was a question regarding this legal status of gas which was stored in Ukraine when it re-exported back to Poland. Maybe this question should be raised and somehow discussed with the legals from Poland, because in line with the customs code of Ukraine, the gas which was imported into CVR, it can be only gas that came from the cross-border points, and it retains its status of gas of non-Ukrainian origin. So from the point of view of customs code and operating the customs warehouse, the only imported gas is stored in Ukrainian storages in CVR. So up to 3 years can be stored without paying VAT and customs duties. And hopefully in April next year, this norm will be also amended in line with the amendments to the customs code. We are waiting now for the secondary legislation that this limitation will be cancelled, and the companies will be able to store even more, the longer period, gas in CVR. What I wanted to say that, as Stanislav mentioned, that we, as operators, as system operators, fully depend on the behavior of our clients, of network users. And as we know that CVR in Ukraine was established in 2017, but basically was started to use actively by EU traders in 2019-2020, when these changes on the gas markets started. And yes, we see that its role as a balancing for the EU market and the security of supply. And then we would, as a system storage operator, would like to increase this role But of course, the behavior of traders depends on the summer-winter spreads, which motivates them to temporarily to inject and then withdraw. Yes, this summer we had enough spread, and the activity on the CVR was very low. But this also raises another question to us as a system operators. What can be done to facilitate the procedures, maybe just to make the route more attractive, connecting Ukrainian system and Polish system. Of course, if we have some obstacles with the legal status of the gas, let us discuss this. Also, question of the tariffs for all the market participants is also very important. So we are, as SSO of Ukraine, are open to discuss how we can make the route more attractive for temporarily storing gas in Ukraine, because all the procedures, organizational conditions are being created years ago. And now the task is how to make the products of temporary storing in Ukraine more attractive, and the route from Poland to Ukrainian storages and back competitive in comparison with other routes. So if any questions to system storage operator of Ukraine, I'm open to answer and to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have always admired your ability to make a breathtaking story out of similarly mundane things. And of course, the only thing where I do not agree with you is when you say we are waiting. I'm sure that you and your company are not waiting, but applying efforts to change the situation.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted that we are waiting maybe for some requests, what can be done more.
All right.
That's why we are always open to discuss with the market. Yes, we are not stopping. Yes.
Sure. And I've been told that Deputy Minister Kolesnik has finally joined us in earnest, and we are going to listen to his speech. Mr. Kolesnik, the mic is yours.
Thank you. I hope you hear me well.
Oh, yes, very well.
I'm grateful for the previous contribution and previous reports on my colleagues and Polish colleagues, because frankly, everyone talks only about the same intention and the same point about how to go through the market unity and how to make the regulation of the market more flexible to increase liquidity, to increase interstate trading procedures. That is very much encouraging. The second important point, grateful for gas system cooperation with OGTCU, as we receive official confirmation for guaranteed capacity in entry exit point between Ukraine and Poland border. It's very much important starting from the first quarter 2025. I do believe that is technically the right point that will help us to increase the volumes of trading between the government in this particular direction. But at the same time, I would like to mention that the first due diligence of the legislation, Ukrainian and Polish legislation in natural gas market were done in 2020, late 2020, at least 4 years ago, and we had a roadmap. What exact changes, amendments need to be done on both sides. And from that particular moment, some acts were already improved, some still in the process. What also important to mention that Ukraine in current situation has potentially the biggest commercially interest of the traders for booking capacity in entry-exit point from Ukraine to Poland. Of course, because there is the cheapest gas in Hungary, which goes to Ukraine and then goes back to Poland. But that is temporary measures. We do understand that in the future natural gas balance market, the LNG molecule and the percentage of natural gas of LNG will rise. But existence of FSRU or LNG terminals, as it were mentioned previously, Klaipėda, Svineustye, even if there will be Gdansk 1, Gdansk 2, it doesn't make a market liquidity. It just increases installed capacity of resource that might be contracted or might be not contracted. And here when it comes the competition, because on one side, from Balkan countries, Hellenic countries, we receive strong intention in development on Trans-Balkan corridor, in development vertical corridor, and specifically there is LNG terminals which is already under operations. And the only question how to improve existing capacity and how to use it in a more efficient way. And it's also mainly discussion about LNG as a molecule. On the other side, we have Omischal and we have resource from Italy, which also goes for the same direction of central eastern, let's say, Central European gas hub, and it also will be increased by LNG. As we see, as we realized after the end of Ukraine, of the gas transit from Russia to Europe, some part of these volumes will be replaced by LNG. It's good question, what type of LNG? But specifically, I would want to use today's time to build the structure of joint vision. So there is the second direction, which can reach European market, specifically Central European market, by additional volume of LNG. And there is a second, specifically one important point, this direction is also in reach jointly. Some volumes goes from Tunisia, some potentially as a strategy of Italy, it's development of additional volumes from Egypt plus LNG. So this is their balance. And the third direction, which might come, is from as well as Germany. Germany is highly interested to find the way how to make their capacity more available. There is the question of additional tax for entry payments, and we do know that on the level of the law there are already under discussion how to postpone this additional payment for external traders starting from the next year. Specifically, there is a huge intention from Net4Gas area, Ustream area, Central Europe area, and here were two terminals, Winterfale, so they are interested in how to download that capacity as much as possible. And in the end of the day, there is Poland. There is Poland with Baltic Pipe, with the Poland plus additional capacity with Svineustye. There is Poland with additional capacity from Klaipėda. There is potential of development of additional, strategically in a long-term perspective, capacity in Latvia, but there is Svineustye, the first LNG terminal. There was discussion previously about the market interest of Svineustye to Gdansk, the second terminal. But taking into account, plus there is, as I do remember, 3.8 billion cubic meter of internal production of natural gas in Poland. At the same time, we have consumption, which is close to 16.5 is a summary of this year. This is the consumption of Poland. So totally we see that there is, even today, the capacity of FSRUs and LNG, which is not used. And when some shipments is not done in time or it happens in the market, they are retraded during the day, then we have a lack of liquidity. And in external situation, let's say traders start to rebook capacity from neighbor country markets. Polish underground gas storages physically works up to 3 billion 327. I just opened in the parallel 27 million cubic meters. But that is not enough to make the market liquid. If that will be in the level as it happens now, it's approximately 80% of storages, which is fulfilled to 80%. It's not enough to keep liquidity during the whole season. And in this particular direction, there is strategic point. First, to increase capacity to the neighbor markets and to make all these LNG FSRUs downloaded for 100%, because this is the shortest leg for supply to all potential markets, to all potential liquid markets. But the second point, it's regulations. The liquid markets, it's deregulated markets. And in this particular matter, Ukraine are open fully to increase our inter-government capacity between Ukraine and Poland. We had the procedure of open season. We officially, with my signed and with officially of under my signed signature and my colleagues, we officially request to sign all necessary documents to start development of entry-exit point between Ukraine and Poland and to increase installed capacity, because that will help to make this eastern part of Europe even more liquid than it might be assumed today. Our forecast is clear. We will have long-term and mid-term contract procedure in a business mechanism as a Chinese business model in the US. It will help Ukraine and Poland to store as much gas as needed for whole Eastern Europe. And in that particular reason, this deregulated and physically developed capacity between our government will help us to reshape that part of natural gas which were previously shipped by Russians. If that will not happen, that agreements will be not in table in the nearest 1-2 years, there will be other roads of supply, where fortunately will be fulfilled by alternative sources from Hellenic countries, Balkan countries, Turkish, or from Africa, or like something like that. Anyway, the market will pay double, but always find the resource. That what happened in 2022. And our particular situation is to find that frame, that market will be as much reliable on proposition, on liquidity, as it might happen. We already have enough infrastructure, just need to make it work. And the only answer is the deregulation. We send it our roadmap, what might be deregulated on our side, on both sides. We're happy to finish it and implement all it might happen, what is needed. But even today, we see that market, we realize, yes, that the market fully consumes, as they fully book current capacity. They're interested in this capacity. And it means that we need just to develop intergovernment relations in particular manner to build additional capacity. And the second important pillar about CVR, so despite even the war, we keep the market reliable, and foreign traders can easily go to our market, store, and re-export gas with no ban. It's very much important to mention from my side as a ministry. And all risks which happen, we are taking on our side. Operator of GTS, operator of underground gas storages, work very much responsibly and efficiently as an expert. And despite all risks, they manage situation quite clearly, quite independently, and in the most efficient way. And today, our market is fully reliable, sustainable. That is very much important because in all the directions, we find the way on the level of the law, we allow operator of GTS and underground gas storages to be flexible, to use that part of capacity which is exactly needed, and the rest can be managed in a cost-efficient way regarding the tariff. That help us to find future business model that will be still compatible enough and to make us more attractive than Central Eastern Europe hub or someone else. In the last point, our model of Ukraine and Poland will be the most attractive and the most sustainable if we will join our effort on frame and physical trade. It will help, frankly, to make in practice the real discussions and political messages. There was different times. 2022, head of Orlen always mentioned that Orlen can be regional biggest trader, and it's reality. It can happen, as well as Ukraine can happen the biggest trader, and we all can talk about it. Only when we deregulate and can efficiently use that capacities and infrastructure we have. In Ukraine, once again, 30 billion cubic meters. Our gas transmission system is built to ship 147 billion cubic meters. We can build the biggest hub, and Poland have all gates to receive enough resource for European part. If we will match that propositions in infrastructure, it will be the best business model ever. Otherwise, competition is always here. Thank you for possibility to send my words and messages.
A very important message from Mr. Kolesnik, who combines personal expertise and a responsible governmental position. And while he was speaking of different directions at the start of his speech, I was thinking that he'll point us in the right direction, and my premonition was right. At least I think so. Thank you very much. And now let's listen to William Copples, Director of ERO Group. Hello, William.
Hello. Yes, I'm just getting home, so I don't know if I can join on the computer. I'm trying to join if you give me.
We can hear you.
Okay.
And we even can see part of your face.
Okay, I'm trying to get a better camera in the meantime.
Yeah, much better.
So, thank you very much. So I'm very happy that this today topic has been organized because it is very timely. So maybe just to remind or to comment to some points of the things that have been said. So first of all, indeed, well, the Polish system is very important, and I think ERO as a long-term partner of Orlen and the Polish, let's say, gas sector, was when the war started, the day after the war started on 25th of February, full LNG term cargo was arriving at Świnoujście that had been contracted by ERO, and it has been flowing. All the gas has been flowing successfully by the gas system capacity from Świnoujście to Hermanowice and to Ukraine, and was delivered during the war. So by ERO and in partnership with Orlen. So I think that's we have showed. ERO has showed several times to bring LNG from Poland, and so it works. It is not, let's say, the cheapest in general, but sometimes it works, and sometimes the market configuration is right. So it is a very important and much more direct source of LNG. It's the closest LNG that you can get to Ukraine. So that's the first point. So with ERO, we have been, so we are a long-term partner of Orlen, but we have successfully managed to get a Polish license after the war started. We had been starting already on that. I think we did pretty fast because it took only 1.5 years, which is of course a nightmare. I mean, it's clear that Polish market is one of the most protected markets in Europe because of political reasons, and to protect the main player, which is Orlen, so which is our partner, but it's also the most one of the strongest monopolies in the European market. So I'm happy that we discussed the different, let's say, discriminatory rules, and I think. So I didn't hear gas system commenting on diversification. I think diversification obligation and the storage obligation, but are the two reasons that the Polish market is at a premium, at a strong premium to TTF and to other markets. It's not only because of the German, let's say, exit fee, which is also very strongly against trading and very discriminatory. So, but the Polish market is at a very high level because of these obligations. So we with Eero, so we have a license, and I think I'm happy to announce and to find a platform here that, well, beyond the speaking and the pitching against the diversification, we are ready to take concrete action, and we would be happy that everyone joins us in this action and that we find a common, let's say, ground. But let me get first on the diversification obligation. So storage obligation. So, well, I think I agree kind of with Stanislas. So before. Everyone was pointing at Poland saying, well, they bought very expensive LNG, they've been diversifying, and they have a storage obligation that is completely protecting their market. Of course, now after the war started and the gas market has changed, so Poles are very proud to say, well, we were right. You see, it is necessary to have expensive LNG terminals, and it is right to have storage obligations. Okay, you have a point. But it doesn't mean that you need to continue protecting your market and that you keep obsolete legislation in place to protect your main player. So I'm very happy to have heard from the lawyer the arguments that we have also gathered from our legal advisor in Poland. So I think for the diversification obligation is indeed very discriminatory and completely obsolete. So the first point that was pointed out by the lawyer is indeed that this rule was set up to protect or to enforce, to force Orlen or PGNiG, in fact, to not extend its contract with Gazprom after 2022. So the rule was, okay, that there should not be more than 30% of Russian gas coming into Poland. So, of course, it didn't happen because the war started, and anyhow, PGNiG was, or Orlen was already busy on this. So the purpose of the law has been completely gone. There's no, I mean, there's no reason anymore to apply this diversification law because there is no Russian gas coming into Poland. The second thing, indeed, is that it is very discriminatory to gas and EU gas flowing through Ukraine, either directly or indirectly. So directly through the short haul capacity from Hungary or Slovakia, but also indirectly, first going to the storage and then secondly going back. So I'm interested to understand a bit better what could be the legal impossibilities, because we are sending some gas to Poland, and I don't see really why it cannot be used documented as EU gas. But well, we just started, so so that would be an interesting point to exchange with Andrzej Miezowiec and other persons to understand this, and with Ukrtransgaz, of course, because. As far as we see, we can provide the documentation to show that this is EU gas. So our proposal, and we'd be happy that if the result of this meeting can be some joint letter or other actions towards the Polish government, and I understand there will be an intergovernmental meeting between the Ministries of Energies in January, is that on the IRU side, we have been importing some gas in November, a small quantity of around 5 million cubic meters. And we know that we will not meet exactly the diversification obligation for the calendar year 2024. So, in fact, we will be quite happy to disobey the law and go into some litigation with URE and see what the result is, because this diversification law, of course, is very frightening. There might be a very high penalty, but we are so convinced that this is unfair, discriminatory, and obsolete that we are ready to take some risk, and we're happy to have the support from everyone here around the table to go for this and make a case. So that's my main message of today. So on the storage obligation, well, I think what our Polish colleagues have been saying, that this is a discussion that is ongoing in Parliament, and let's hope that it will result in a more adapted way of putting a storage obligation to the final customers who are benefiting from it, with as a total result a lowering of the prices in Poland, because they are very high. They are trading around TTF +6, which is higher than in any other market in Europe. So happy to hear from your reactions and to join in some joint letter or other action to be coordinated potentially by, or I think by Energy Club or the TSO and the Ministry to go towards solving this issue, and especially by the next year, because our colleagues, and they are colleagues from Orlen, well, they of course kindly reply that, well, please wait. Yeah, please wait. This diversification rule will be cancelled in 2027. But well, we have been working on the license for 1.5 years. We now can trade and are trading in Poland, and we have been sending some gas to Poland. We're still selling quite a lot of gas to our colleagues also from Orlen. They have been buying a lot of gas, a little bit to the detriment of the Ukrainian market, because I think a lot of storage volumes went to Poland. So Ukraine has been showing its importance for the Polish market, and especially the storage market, because basically I think no one, it's not a secret to say that in the last 2 months, especially in the November cold, instead of using its own storage, Poland has been kind of saving its storage withdrawal capacity because they don't have a big storage capacity like Ukraine. So it's quite limited compared to the size of the market, especially with the market that is growing because of new power generation that is gas-fired. So Poland has been benefiting in the last 1.5 months, and especially the November cold month, from the Ukrainian system, from the Ukrainian volumes, from Ukrainian storage. And I think everyone has seen the big volumes flowing to Poland, up to 11-12 million per day, and that is not nothing. I mean, if you so it's really significant volumes, not only coming from Hungary but also coming from Ukrainian storage. So I think we have a very strong case to say, come on, Polish guys, skip your diversification, open the market, and really work with Ukraine, because this is not Ukrainian grain that is competing with you on a false basis. This is just a very strong support of your gas system. So thank you.
Thank you. William Koppels' speech is certainly one of the high points of today's conference, but I'm sure we have more in store. And we have reached the psychological point break time, when usually there follows a coffee break. I must tell you, there won't be a coffee break at this point. However, after the conference is finished, you will have an opportunity to have some coffee and networking in the adjacent room. So far, we are doing rather well, and we have something like 25 minutes left. And the next person to speak is going to be Mr. Andriy Prokofiev, Head of Customer Relations of the Gas Transmission System of Ukraine.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Andriy, for introduction. Frankly speaking, a lot has been already mentioned by my colleagues and by Deputy Minister Kolesnik about the expansion of capacities on cross-border interconnection points. I will just comment a bit on that. Of course, as mentioned by Stanislav, recently we have indeed increased, or I would say we changed the approach to way how capacities are offered on entry point from Poland. Thanks to our Polish colleagues, the like long-term firm capacity were introduced, in the amount of about 5 million cubic meters per day, which will be available till as of now for first 3 quarters of next year in monthly, quarterly, and daily products. So this is a very important signal for the market, because currently and before that, the firm capacities were offered only on the head basis. This is very important point, because as Mr. Kolesnik mentioned, the Polish market opens the route to a lot of sources of natural gas. And this is a very important addition to not only to security of supply, kind of protection for Ukraine, but also for commercial development of, and next season we expect this route to be used by network users. At the same time, during last year, we were actively working on increasing cross-border capacities on all our routes. I think, beginning of summer, we increased the capacities of Hungarian route, which is as of now, which has been most actively used by network users. Increased it by about 20% to the total amount of almost 10 million cubic meters per day. Also, we introduced from 1st of September firm capacity on Trans-Balkan pipeline in small amount, 1 million per day, but now we are very actively working with Moldovan counterparts to increase it to 7 million per day. Just recently, we agreed with Slovak TSO to kind of increase back the firm capacity on Budince, so entry point from Slovakia, back to 42 million cubic meters per day. So we are now finalizing all the documents, and capacities will be offered shortly on the auctions. So altogether, we have like firm capacity about 60 million per day on all routes on all EU-Ukraine borders, which can be used during winter season and then during the summer for injection into the storages. So another important point that I also wanted to mention, which was also mentioned by Deputy Minister Kolesnik, is the competitiveness of the routes. So we saw that very good example of how it shouldn't work during 2023 and 2024. We had a very nice comparison for Trans-Balkan pipeline, when in 2023 it was very actively used by the market participants. The spread between the markets was there. It was booked, used, and we had even auction premium on some of the months. And then the TSOs all over the route started increasing the tariffs, and in 2024 the utilization rate was very small, and the capacity was used, I think, like more than 10 times less than in 2023. So this is an important point also to take into account, and this is important for, of course, the long routes like the Trans-Balkan route, and it is also to be kept in mind as one of the points which should be solved. Also, very brief comment about the diversification rule. So, as William rightfully mentioned, the flows through Ukraine, I would say, so from Ukrainian storages and through Ukraine from mostly Hungary during the last 2 years have been very active. So the flows were in place, and we understand that we studied a little bit the issue of diversification rule in Poland, and we understand that a lot of market participants are very concerned about how it will be applied and whether they will have to pay the penalties if they violate it. As we just heard from William, so we will see about the penalties and about the potential litigations with the matter. But we also support that all the kind of burdens and the administrative and regulatory burdens should be taken off. And I believe if we wouldn't have diversification rule, the flows through Ukrainian system or the flows from Ukrainian storages to Poland during the last 2 years would be higher. So I will stop here to give floor to other colleagues, and I will be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Very brisk, very energetic. Thank you very much for your intervention, Mr. Prokofiev. And now, as we have some representatives of different trading companies, maybe they would like to voice their opinion on the issues that we were discussing here, like maybe Orlen or MIT or Vitol. No, not at the moment. Okay. May I also remind you that Agneta Kutslim was inviting questions to her and Mr. Prokofiev as well. So we still have some time. If anyone wants to ask them about what they were saying, you will be given such an opportunity. And as I detect no such movements, I think that it's time to start to summarize what we were talking about. And the option is that everyone who has spoken at length will now speak for, let's say, 2 minutes to sum up what they want to say. Anyone would like to start? Yes, please.
If I may. Yes, thank you very much for, I think, a very interesting discussion that we had. I had only a couple of comments within the discussion that we had. So first to our colleague from the law company, I think you were very right that we have to have in mind what the legislator had in mind when he adopted particular provisions. And of course, it was also stated in the description of the storage law and of the diversification, but also there were rulings by the Supreme Court of Poland and by the Court of for Competition that, of course, it was about clearly against Russian gas. So it was not about diversification per se, especially if this were gas of EU origin, but rather it was to limit the dependence of Russian gas. And as we know now, Poland has almost no dependence on Russian gas. So to a large extent, the reasoning behind this, at least, has to be seriously rethought. Second, Mr. Stanczak was referring, I think, to a very important and interesting idea about somehow utilizing not only Ukrainian, but the energy community storages. So maybe this is also a very good buzzword and argument to not speak only about Ukraine, but also about energy community, and using also all this argumentation which is behind the energy community. I remember before the war, in such discussions, we are also thinking how to change the storage law. And then we were thinking first, yes, to making an exception for the Ukrainian storages, but also somehow to additionally safeguard that this will be delivered when there's a need to sign an intergovernmental agreement between Poland and Ukraine on the use of these storages. So it was then before the war, but it was before the negotiation process, before all this that we spoke, this comprehension between EU and Ukraine. So this was our colleague from said about the firm capacities with Ukraine. I think it's very important that we develop, especially the possibility of reverse of sending gas to Ukraine. It's a pity to hear about no success in the tenders, but I think it's also to a large extent, of course, there's a peculiar situation now on the gas market. First, of course, Ukraine is very heavily attacked, which also includes the gas infrastructure, which is, I think, one of the reasons. And second, of course, is the situation on the market, but also, I think, the regulatory constraints that we are speaking about. Minister Kolesnikov also put, I think, a very ministerial comment. He said about, I think, something that we have to find a proper balance between security and liquidity, between limited threats and using the opportunities for developing the internal market. And I think, yes, because of the war, we have moved our emphasis much more on security. But I think now when we got rid for Russian gas, there is plenty of gas available. I think we shall also somehow push again to focus on the development of the internal market, about liquidity and not only security, because it can constrain really the business opportunities. And this brings me to the argument which Mario Draghi was bringing in his report. He was speaking about over-regulation, the need to finalize the internal market. If we are speaking about finalizing the internal market, I think we cannot omit the energy market, which is one of the backbones of the European economy. So I think it's also that what's happening on the strategic level also influence the decisions that we shall be taking. That's from my side.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bild. You have actually set the tone and to a great extent the structure of today's discussion with your initial statement, and it is very important that you reacted to what was said. But I also repeat the appeal to other participants. If you want to comment on what you heard from other participants, you are most welcome. Maybe you feel that you have now to react to what Ireneusz Bill said.
Comments?
Yes, please.
I like the word diversification, of course. And when we said this law in Poland, I was working in Poland at the time. And I think that today the diversification could be treated a bit different. This is.
May you please move closer to the microphone?
Yeah, but so which one? Is it this one?
Microphone is here.
Oh, no,
the microphone is somewhere else.
The one that is there on the table.
There, unfortunately. So just to speak from
this direction.
Okay. So I have to. You will see back of my head. Diversification of the energy is the word I think we should think about. It means diversification of not only the source of the gas, but we should think also about different gases, new gases which can appear. We can think about the hydrogen which could be mixed. I don't know pros and cons I know the pros and cons in Europe, but I see what my colleagues in Great Britain and as well as in Ireland are trying to do, to mix some hydrogen, which could be, in case this is not needed energy, it will be cheap energy that time. And this kind of mixture could be still treated as a natural gas or still could follow the specification of natural gas, and as well as the biomethane. And this kind of diversification could be the new kind of diversification, and we really can forget about the old time diversification idea. That is what I wanted to say.
So may I?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
As the second transmission operator, as we mentioned, that we are give the opportunity for you. Just I would like to say that the market liquidity is the south of our services. Yes, because that's this is for this we constructed this new infrastructure. It's not only the security of supply, but also for the trade opportunity and the market liquidity. Yes. So I hope that if some changes in law will appears, that will be opportunity to welcome you on board as our clients for you and also for colleagues from the abroad. So that we can, let's say, invite for some our basic service as transmission services, also as the booking platforms for buying capacity on our GSA platforms. On the end, I would like also mention about some additional opportunity like this gas insight information platform, which also our company provides us a service that will be maybe more details in our materials, which we try to attach to this ones. But I would like to underline this is also important about the information, because everyone talks about some informations about the prices and so on, but also about the infrastructure availability. And there are also the remit regulations. In our part, the European ones based on the ACER. In the energy community, there are regulations based by the Energy Community Secretariat. But so I would like also invite to use this one, for example, our platform as the common place when all together you will meet with these informations. And last and not least, in the next in February will be this big event like the eWorld, with Hubert. We will be there. So if you would like to meet with us personally, you or someone who is remotely connected, we would like welcome for this opportunity to meet in eWorld and maybe some talk directly or with some questions or ideas. So that's thank you again for the invitations, the opportunity to present our statements, and I hope that we will soon meet with you as our clients.
Thank you for your active participation. I remind you, everyone, that as a result of this conference, of this meeting, there will be a statement, a letter composed by the Energy Club, which people would be able to join. So if you want to add something and to ensure that your opinion is being accommodated in this letter, you still have an opportunity to speak out. We have something like 5 minutes before I hand the final word to Valery Bezos. So if anyone wants to chip in, please do. If not, you will be discussing, I'm sure, those issues during the networking part of today's meeting. Does anyone want to speak? I'm actually surprised that Mr. Mazovets has not voiced his opinion again.
I just add some words. We just let's work together. Governments, regulators, companies. We can make these changes happen. So that's all what I want to say.
This is not a small contribution. Thank you very much, Mr. Mazovets. And now, if no one wants to add something, a very logical summarizing. Yes, please.
William.
For me, yeah, no, I just well, okay. If there's a common statement, that's exactly what we're aiming for, because I think as Valery Bezos also. And so on the legal side, it's very simple. There's no ground, and it's discriminatory, but it's because of discriminating only on the fact that some gas is coming, EU gas is coming from Ukrainian border, which is a non-EU border. So it's a very simple case. So as said, we will, with ERU for November, we have imported volumes, and we will report them tomorrow to URE, and they will see during the 2024 that we are not respecting the diversification obligation. So there will be a case. We will be happy with all the support we can get from everyone. I think Stanislas from Gas System, of course, they cannot take a position, but we have been discussing about this. And I think you can see, especially if you look at the capacity bookings and what happened to the capacity bookings this month and next month for January, just that no one booked, shows clearly that all the traders are afraid to go into Poland because of this diversification and also storage obligation. So it's a very simple, clear case. So indeed, let's work together. Thanks. So thank you for everyone for all the support, and but be concrete and support it also in writing. I think it's very important. It's the right timing. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Willem. When you are as straightforward as Willem Korpusl, something may seem simple, and it is very important, of course. Valery Bezos, you were one of the persons who set the tone of this meeting, and it's logical that you summarize what we have reached so far.
Thank you, Andrei, and thank you so much, dear colleagues, for your precious time and even more precious thoughts and insights, and especially for underlining and putting more light on issues, problems to overcome. And for us as the business community, it's important to gather and to process all the issues and to do our job to facilitate the business opportunities. And special thanks and let's say People's Choice Award for mentioning the clean molecule. So hopefully we'll use all the opportunities to build up a good businesses on the transitional fuel like natural gas, and in parallel we'll use all the opportunities to build up the new business models with the biomethane and hydrogen and who knows what else that we have, all those technologies and opportunities for clean transition. So dear colleagues, thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining this meeting. Thank you everyone who voiced their opinions and those who listened attentively. And I wish you every success in composing the convincing letter which will be able to impact on the situation in the sphere. Thank you very much. And once again, the adjacent room will be a good place to continue your work with some coffee in the form of networking. Take care. And yes, thank you once again. Bye.
Thank you for everyone.
Dear guests, I would like to invite you to our catering, so you may communicate and